top 5 best handles of all time.
You gonna put Kyrie in there?
Kyrie's the best, bro. For me, it's hard to make lists, but Kyrie's the best ever.
And as somebody who's made an all-defensive team, I would trust what you
Bro,
gotta say.
I'm telling you, bro. It's ridiculous, bro.
Game 7, NBA Finals. Score tied with under a minute left. Kyrie Irving isolates against Stephen Curry, one of the greatest shooters alive, pulls up from 3 and drills it. The Cavaliers win the championship. Cleveland ends a 52-year title drought, and Kyrie, 24 years old, stands in the middle of all of it as the player who hit the defining shot. That moment should have been the beginning of a dynasty. Instead, it ended up being the peak. And understanding why that happened, why one of the most skilled players in NBA history never built on that moment the way everyone expected, is one of the more complicated stories in recent basketball. Kyrie's foundation was unusual from the start. He grew up around the game through his father, Kyrie Irving, a former professional player. But what separated him wasn't just exposure, it was the way he processed basketball as a craft. He was naturally left-handed, but was taught to write with his right in school. That forced adaptation turned into an unconscious advantage. Over time, he became genuinely ambidextrous, finishing, dribbling, passing with either hand without thinking about it. Defenders couldn't shade him toward a weakness because the weakness didn't exist. His godfather, Rod Strickland, a former NBA guard known for elite handles, said Kyrie had the best ball handling he had ever seen at that age. Not promising, not impressive. The best. At Duke, he only played 11 games before a toe injury ended his season. Those 11 games were enough. Over 50% from the field, near 40% from 3, close to 90% from the free throw line. Scouts didn't need more film. The number 1 pick was obvious before anyone debated it. The Cleveland Cavaliers got their franchise player, and he validated that immediately. Rookie of the Year in his first season, averaging around 18 points per game with efficiency that first-year players almost never show. All-Star in year 2. When he played for Team USA in international competition, surrounded by Curry, Harden, and others, he still stood out enough to win tournament MVP. But the Cavaliers were losing. And in the NBA, individual production only carries the conversation so far. That changed when LeBron James came back to Cleveland. The big three of LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love looked like a championship formula on paper, and it took time to actually become one. Early on, the chemistry was messy and the results were inconsistent. But when it clicked, Kyrie showed something that separated him from most elite scorers. He wasn't just good, he was unguardable. 55 points in one game, 57 points with a game winner in another. Step backs that created space from nothing. Finishes in traffic that required both hands, impossible angles, and timing that defenders couldn't anticipate. In the 2015 finals against Golden State, he was building toward something before a knee injury ended his run early. The Cavaliers lost the series. The what-if hung over everything. He came back with something to prove. The 2016 finals set the stage completely. Golden State had just finished a 73-win season, the best record in NBA history, and led the series 3-1. No team had ever come back from that deficit in the finals. The series looked finished. Kyrie and LeBron had other plans. Games 5 and 6, both of them dropped 41 points each. Not taking turns. Both of them, same game, matching each other's intensity. They forced a Game 7. With the score tied and the clock running down, Kyrie caught the ball at the top of the arc. Slow dribble. One hesitation. Step back 3 over Curry's outstretched hand. Perfect arc. Nothing but net. That shot, that specific moment, is what legacy is made of. He finished the series averaging 27 points per game, shooting efficiently under maximum pressure, delivering exactly when everything was on the line. At 24, he had a championship, a defining moment, and what looked like a decade of contention ahead of him. Then he decided he didn't want to be second anymore. In 2017, Kyrie requested a trade from Cleveland. No gradual buildup, no prolonged negotiation, just a decision that shocked the league. He had just won a title with one of the best players alive, playing alongside a team capable of competing for years. He walked away from it because he wanted his own stage. Boston looked like the right destination. Young talent, strong system, a city that understood basketball. and early on the numbers were there, but leading a team is a different skill than carrying one in moments, and Kyrie struggled with the distinction. He was publicly critical of his teammates in ways that created distance instead of trust. When the playoffs arrived, his performance dropped at the worst possible time. Missed shots, uncharacteristic decisions, a visible frustration that he couldn't contain. He left Boston without much resistance from anyone involved. Brooklyn was supposed to be the reset. He teamed with Kevin Durant, then James Harden arrived. 3 elite scorers, one of the most talented rosters ever assembled. But the time they actually spent on the court together was minimal. Injuries, then Kyrie's decision to not comply with New York's vaccine mandate cost him significant game time, suspensions followed other controversies, and the chemistry that was supposed to develop never did. Harden eventually forced his way out. Durant followed. The window that had looked inevitable never opened. The perception around Kyrie had shifted completely. Incredible player, unreliable situation. The two things existed simultaneously, and no one knew how to separate them anymore. Dallas changed the conversation. When he was traded to the Mavericks to play alongside Luka, the skepticism was real. 2 ball-dominant players, Kyrie's recent history, no obvious reason to believe this would work where other situations hadn't. But something different happened, gradually, then noticeably. He didn't try to take over. He adjusted his game around Luka rather than competing with it. He picked his spots, ran off screens, hit open threes, made smart passes to the right place at the right time. Defensively, he gave real effort in ways that hadn't always been visible before. The 30-point explosions still happened, but they came in service of the team's structure rather than alongside it. The Mavericks made it to the finals. They didn't win the championship, but the run confirmed something that had been debated for years. When Kyrie is locked in, dialed in, and playing within something instead of against it, he makes the team significantly better. The drama that had followed him from city to city was absent, just basketball. That version of Kyrie, older, more deliberate, operating within Luka's gravity rather than against it, might actually be the most effective version of his career, even if it's not the most explosive, which raises the question that his whole story keeps circling back to. What was his actual prime? The easy answer is 2016 to 2017 in Cleveland. The athleticism was at its peak, the confidence was as high as it ever got, and the results in the biggest moments were undeniable. Those 2 final seasons showed a player who could deliver under maximum pressure in ways that very few guards in history have managed. But his technical skill never declined. The handles, the finishing, the shot creation, all of it remained elite through Boston, Brooklyn, and Dallas. What changed wasn't ability. It was everything surrounding the ability. The situations, the relationships, the decision-making off the court that kept redirecting the story away from basketball. That's what makes Kyrie's career genuinely different from most wasted potential narratives. He wasn't wasted in the conventional sense. He was an all-star for most of his career. He was one of the most skilled players in the league at almost every stage. He hit the biggest shot in Cavaliers history and won a championship. The frustration comes from what the ceiling looked like versus where the floor settled. Because when you watch Kyrie Irving at his best, really watch him, the ball handling, the ambidextrous finishing, the step-back 3 over the best shooter alive in the most important game of the season, the ceiling was something very few players in history have ever touched. The gap between that ceiling and where the career ended up isn't the result of talent running out. It's the result of everything that surrounded the talent. And that's the story. Not a failure, not even close to a failure, but one of the most complete examples of how much the environment around elite skill matters, how much relationships, consistency, and the willingness to be part of something bigger than yourself determines whether greatness becomes a legacy or stays a highlight reel. Kyrie's highlight reel is one of the best ever made. The legacy part is the conversation that never fully resolved. What do you think? Did Kyrie reach his potential, or did we only see half of what he was actually capable of? Drop your take in the comments. Subscribe for more stories about the players who made basketball worth watching.